Pet King. Chapter 51, Pilfering doesn't count as stealing. Jang Kyung-soo did not understand. But even if she did not understand pets, from all the spamming and all the gifts that she had been rewarded with in the live broadcast room, Jang Kyung-soo understood that the scene just now was extraordinary. I just arrived. May I ask where this live broadcast room is? Amazing Fate Pet Shop. I'm asking, in which city is it? Binhai. Are you not a local? Oh, I'm from out of the country. Who recorded that segment just now? I came late, and only saw the last bit. I recorded it in preparation for licking the screen. If you want it, transfer 50 on Alipay. Fuck. So witty. Making a profit like this. 50 it is, give me your private account number. I want to show the members of the local Friends of the Cat group. The majority of the people in the live broadcast room were locals of Binhai City, and all of them were more or less proud of their city. Once it was heard that it was a good opportunity to make Binhai City, and its cats, famous, people immediately jumped out to help. Bobo Energy, I also recorded, I will provide it for free if anyone messages me. Jang Kyung-soo had only then noticed that there were more than 5,000 people in the live broadcast room. This was a peak of popularity she had not ever experienced since the start of her broadcasting. In addition, a lot of the IDs of the people who tipped were unfamiliar and seemed to be foreigners, such as Capital Snoop Dogg, or Jinhua Chiang. She said to Jang Zion, Mr. Shop Manager, could I help someone reserve a cat? It's called the American Shorthair or something. Jang Zion pointed. That one is the American Shorthair. You can take a look first. You need to pay a deposit if you want to reserve it. My pets here are in very high demand, and they sell very quickly. If you don't pay the deposit and someone else wants it, then I can only sell it to someone else. He felt Fina's contemptuous eyes once again, as if she was saying, shameless boasting. There were obviously no customers at all the whole morning. He released his powerful aura, presuming that he had one, and gave a reply, this is a strategy for marketing, understand? Jang Kyung-soo ran with quick and short steps over to the kittens, pointed at a silver tabby cat and said, is it this one? Jang Zion nodded. Boss, which one is better between these two? Outman and Fried Mushroom asked, as they pointed at the British Shorthair and the American Shorthair. Unable to make a decision after a long time, they were getting a bit anxious. After all, there were two British Shorthairs, and only one American Shorthair. There would be no more if someone else were to snatch it. There is no good or bad, it just depends on what type you like. Jang Zion saw that they had strong intentions to buy, and so he seriously explained, these cats are all very close to people, but their levels of clinginess are different. That Siamese is the clingiest, the most energetic, and it cannot be even one moment away from its owner. The American Shorthair is in the middle. It's clingy, but not naughty. The British Shorthair will give you some alone time, his finger pointed successively towards the Siamese, the American Shorthair, and the British Shorthair. He wanted to add a sentence to compare the Persian cat, but found that he pointed at nothing. The place where the Persian cat had just been was empty. Huh? Where did the Persian cat hide? Suddenly, he felt the fierce aura of presence behind him also disappear. Shop Manager, your cat wants to escape, Great Chieftain of Thunder Bluff, who had not really spoken after entering the shop, pointed at the entrance. Fina had snuck unobserved to the entrance without a sound. Her tail was pencil straight like a saber, all her muscles were tight, and her aquamarine eyes as deep as a bottomless pond reflected the figure of a panicking man. Boss Afi awkwardly stood at the entrance door. He shifted to the left and shifted to the right, but Fina still blocked him. It was the time of the day when the sunlight was the strongest. Fina was bathed in sunlight, every hair was illuminated, glittering, and dazzling, and she looked like a gold casting. Boss Afi looked back and saw that everyone's eyes were focused on him. He forced a smile and said, "Old brother, did you raise this cat? How come you don't manage it well? It blocks the customer and doesn't let him go. What kind of principle is this? You don't even care for your own cat. It seems that your so-called obedience was exaggerated after all." Zhang Ziyan sighed, "Don't be a fucking idiot. Hand over the cat that you've hidden in your clothes first." Boss Afi had a beer belly, and his jacket was usually open. But now, it was actually zipped up, and something was squirming in the area between his chest and stomach. He had taken advantage of people's attention being fully on the British short hairs and American short hair just now, and had quietly hid the left-behind Persian cat against his chest. He was ready to sneak away, but who knew that the golden cat with a strong sense of vigilance would discover him? Well, ever since Zhang Ziyan had told Fina that kittens not only could live a wonderful life being served by humans if they were sold, but also that they could make a small amount of money, she became even more vigorous than Zhang Ziyan about marketing the kittens. It was really an exaggeration to actually have dared to take advantage of this pretentious gold-worshipping cat. Wasn't this the same as disturbing the legendary god? Oh fuck. Cat thief. Your whole family will die if you steal cats. Catch him, resent him to death. The live broadcast room was riled up again. This broadcast was witnessing a crime caught in action. Zhang Qingxiu stared at Boss Afi in disbelief. Having been so pampered growing up, she just could not understand, this person had clearly tipped a few $1,000s just now. How come he committed theft for a cat in the blink of an eye? Even great chieftain of Thunder Bluff, who did not want to stir up trouble, had his fists clenched tightly. Seeing that he had angered the public, Boss Afi broke out in a sweat. If it were an ordinary cat, then he would not have been so desperate to take the risk. But, he had a friend who was opening a cat's house. If he could get this Persian cat, worth 8,000, and sell it to his friend to be a breeding cat, he could possibly scam several tens of thousands from him. There were two roads laid out in front of him. One was to hand over the kitten and obediently admit wrongdoing, beg for the public's forgiveness, ask for mercy from the shop manager, and beg the shop manager to not call the police. The second was to. These people don't know me anyways. They are all from chatting in BBS. At the worst, I won't go on to BBS anymore. Having thought of this, he made his decision. He saw that the crowd was not so close to him, and leapt up. His potbelly was deceiving. He actually had been a soccer player when he was young. He was quite agile. With that leap, he used the same skills that he had used to head the ball in his former days. He leapt very high, wanting to go clear over Fina's head. Unfortunately, the saying held true, to compare human agility with that of a cat is to seek death. Fina disappeared right in front of his eyes as he jumped. While he was in the air, he suddenly felt his back sink. A ferocious force had grabbed him by his collar. Then with a chi-la, like the sound of silk ripping, the back of his canvas jacket split in half. The rip was as smooth as a cut made with a scalpel. That kind of sharp and unparalleled force continued downward. Not only his jacket, but now also his leather belt, which stubbornly resisted for half a second, was slit open. Next were his pants. Thanks to the many years of soccer training, and with the reliance on his weight that obviously obscured his good points, Boss Afi barely managed to retain his balance when he landed, and he staggered quite a few steps, even though he had been assaulted in mid-air. He turned his head to see that the crowd and the golden cat had not yet caught up to him. He made strides to continue to run, but his pants down at his ankles tripped him, and he fell flat on his face. His front teeth were almost knocked out as he fell on the ground with his butt in the air. Zhang Qingxiu blushed and turned her head away. She aimed her phone at Boss Afi from afar. Oh fuck. Such a white arse. This pose is too overwhelming. Ha 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 ha. Erection. Stripped. I can't stand you guys. Totally unnecessary.